Hi, this is Akin, and welcome back to my channel. Earlier, we had breaking news that the president of South Korea had declared martial law on the country because he's not happy with the leadership on the opposite party. So it seems like he's changing his mind after the assembly voted 190-0 to end the martial law declaration. So let's get into this. Now, who wrote this? I believe it's the Wall Street Journal. Um, this is by Dashin Yoon, Jin Young Sung, and Timothy W. Martin. Says South Korea president to lift martial law after parliament reject move. So the leader of South Korea reversal ends a tense night in Seoul. This is what happens. South Korea president said he will lift his martial law declaration after parliament voted against the measure, rejecting his claim that political opponents have made the nation vulnerable to North Korea. President Yoon Suk Yeil address at roughly 4 a.m. local time put an end to what had been a tense night sparked by his early announcement. Lawmakers scaled fences and made their way past armed guards to enter the country's National Assembly in downtown Seoul, voting 190-0 against the measure early Wednesday morning. Martial law has been declared more than 2 hours earlier, taking effect 11 p.m. local time Tuesday. The stunned series of events came as Young approval ratings hit fresh lows among a bitter budget showdown with the opponents infighting over a political scandal inside his own conservative People Power Party. On Tuesday, Yoon accused opposition party of holding South Korea parliament process hostage and posing a threat to the country's constitutional order. Yoon claimed he will formally lift martial law after more members of his cabinet arrive. He told legislators to halt activities that hurt national affairs, such as impeachment trials and legislation manipulation. There's been a lot of manipulation around here. South Korea conservatives have long accused the opposition of harboring sympathies for North Korea. But Yoon, a career prosecutor who took office in 2022 and became close to President Biden, has increasingly branded his political enemies as anti-state groups. In 2023 speech, he describes the country polarization as confrontational between liberal Democrats and communist tolerization. I can't pronounce these words, sorry. In his televised speech early on Tuesday, he announced the move. Young, a 63-year-old conservative, explained his rationale in an address that ran over 5 minutes. The martial law is aimed to eradicate pro-North Korean forces and to protect the constitutional order of freedom, he says. The U.S. hasn't been notified of the events of the martial rule decision, says a spokeswoman for the White House National Security Council. She added that Seoul and Washington has since been in touch. South Korea is home to the U.S. largest overseas military base and hosts roughly 28,500 American military personnel. A spokesman for the State Department said the U.S. diplomat posture towards South Korea hasn't changed, although he calls Yoon's declaration of martial law a serious and grave concern. Yoon's move on Tuesday was remarkable even by standards of South Korean politics, which has been turbulent since the country transitioned to democracy in 1987 after decades of brutal military rule. Several former presidents have been sent to prison after leaving office. Park Geun-hye, the country's first female leader and the daughter of one of South Korea's former military dictators, was impeached and ousted from office in 2017 over an influence peddle scandal. Despite the pugnacistic politics, no South Korean leader has instituted martial law in more than 4 decades, so put local media under government control, halt all political activities, demand all medical personnel return to work within 48 hours, among other measures. Both the opposition Democratic Party and Yoon's own ruling People Power Party slammed Yoon's move as unconstitutional. So both sides are letting him have it. President Yoon had made a big political mistake, says Ramon Picho Pardo, the KFVB Korean chair of the Brussels School of Governance. Yoon, whose approval rating has dropped below 20% recently, will now face tough questions about his political future. Yoon is roughly at the midpoint of a 5-year term, which is to end in 2027. By law, he's not allowed to run for re-election. One of South Korea's largest newspapers at the center, right, Yonhap Daily, said in an editorial it would be doubtful that Yoon maintained his presidency after declaring martial law. The discussion regarding the president's impeachment has been inevitable, the editorial reads. In frigid temperatures, hundreds of South Koreans gathered well past midnight in front of the National Assembly building with helicopters flying above their heads and police standing watch. The protesters chanted, "Impeach Yoon Suk-yeol." Yoon was a career prosecutor with no political experience before he narrowly won South Korea's presidency in March 2022. The country remains deeply divided after he took office, according to a 2022 survey by the Pew Research Center. The only country with a high percentage level of partisan conflict than the U.S. with South Korea. This year, South Korea remained on an even more dramatic political edge. In January, Lee Jae-myung, head of the left-leaning Democratic Party, was stabbed in the neck and required emergency surgery. The assailant said he wanted to prevent Lee from winning the presidential election in 2027 and more immediately blocked the Democrat Party from racking up a victory in the next election, legislation election. Weeks later, a conservative lawmaker was attacked. And I don't support attacking people like that. Nope. In April, Yoon's ruling party suffered a major blowout loss in the legislature elections. That means Yoon would struggle to pass any legislation for his domestic agenda, make him a de facto lame duck. About 2/3 of South Koreans hold negative perceptions of Yoon able to run the country, recent poll shows. Han Dong-hong, the head of Yoon's own People Power Party, called Yoon's move to declare martial law an illegal, unconstitutional move. South Korea is a democratic country. We will protect democracy alongside our citizens, Seng-hang, a former justice minister in Yoon's cabinet. After the vote was notified martial law, the soldier inside the National Assembly building left the premises under legislature order. Lee, the opposition leader, vowed to turn the political crisis into an opportunity to return South Korea back to normalcy. Even though our nation continues to retreat, the situation will not be worsened due to this illegal and unconstitutional declaration of martial law, he said. Political instability led to a decline in U.S. shares of several South Korean companies. E-commerce giant Couparang and steelmaker Porsche Holdings each fell 4%. The iShare MSCI South Korean ETF sank 2.7% after declining as much as 7% earlier. Meanwhile, the value of the South Korean won fell against the U.S. dollar in global currency markets. South Korea stock market operator said it was undecided where it would open for trading on Wednesday. It would be important for Yoon to quickly give a more detailed explanation of his actions, say Troy Stangrong, a Korean expert at Wilson Center, a nonpartisan think tank in Washington, D.C. Without the explanation, this could be perceived as settling domestic political dispute through martial law rather than a democratic process, he said. Oh my goodness gracious. And then they give credit to the writers. Well, like I said, we were a bit shocked when we got the news that it came to the wire that South Korea declared martial law, and the guy is an embattled president, and he felt that the opposition side was trying to do them in. Now he got both sides, his own party, against him as well, which is ridiculous. Of course, this situation doesn't help our American friend Johnny Somali, who's in hot water of his own. And by the president declaring that the Democrats on their side was being sympathetic to North Korea, yes, Johnny, who was annoying people with the North Korean anthem in public places, just hit a new low. So I had to put Johnny in there because, he's causing a lot of problems too without the president of South Korea adding his 2 cents in, So, it will not help his case. And I understand his court case is coming up on December 24th, day before Christmas. Well, we don't know if he's going to get a nice Christmas present or lumps of coal in the jail sentence to go with it. So that's all we know so far about what's happening in South Korea. We had not heard from North Korea because I think they're not really interested in this at all, especially Johnny Somali. So this is Alka saying so long for now, and don't forget your style.